I was sitting across from the bank manager when he slid the file across the polished desk with a grave expression. The air felt thick, and something in my gut twisted before I even opened the folder. Mr. Carter, the house on Clearwater Drive. It's under your name. You're $880,000 in debt. I blinked. Excuse me. You co-signed the mortgage 6 months ago. No, I said, my voice going cold. I never signed anything. He tilted his head, almost sympathetic. We have your signature on record. That's when I opened the file. And there it was, my full name, my social, and a signature that looked like mine, but wasn't. The blood drained from my face as I flipped through the documents. I recognized the house. The address. I'd driven past it 2 weeks ago, thinking it was one of those high-end bachelor pads. Turns out it was. But not for me. For him. That night, I didn't go home. I drove to that very house. Parked a block away. Waited. And just like clockwork, there she was. Jessica, my wife. Stepping out of a sleek black Mercedes wearing a silk dress and stilettos I hadn't seen before. And right behind her, a man, taller than me, built, wearing a smug smile and his hand on the small of her back like he owned her. Like he owned everything. They kissed on the front porch, long, slow, and obscene. Then she turned, reached into her purse, and pulled out keys. My keys. That was it. That was the moment something snapped in my brain, and the world split into before and after. Before, I was Marcus Carter, 34, married 7 years, owned a decent accounting firm, quiet life, no drama. After, I was a man whose wife forged his name to buy her side guy a house with his credit. I sat in the car for hours, shaking, not from fear, not from sadness, from rage, blinding, radioactive rage. But I didn't storm the house. No. That would have been too easy. I needed to know everything. I needed to trap her in her own lies. So I started digging. 3 days later, I had the timeline. She started the mortgage process 9 months ago, right after our anniversary trip to Miami. The same trip where she told me, "You're the only man who's ever made me feel safe." She used a power of attorney form she forged, a stolen notary stamp, and connections at her real estate job to sneak the paperwork through. She knew all the tricks. The cherry on top? The boyfriend, Travis, was one of her clients. A personal trainer who could barely afford rent, according to her when she first met him. I guess he got promoted to live-in boy toy. And me? I got promoted to the world's most humiliated husband. The confrontation was coming, but I wasn't going to walk into that unarmed. I was going to burn her life down with precision. Because when a woman steals your name, your credit, and your dignity to play house with a guy who can't spell mortgage, you don't just get mad. You go quiet, cold, focused. And when she saw what I did next, her face went pale. I walked into our house 2 days later like nothing had happened. She was in the kitchen, humming, stirring her oat milk latte like she wasn't one step away from financial obliteration. "Hey babe," Jessica said, all fake sunshine. "Where have you been?" "Bank," I said flatly. She froze for half a second, just long enough. Then the mask slipped right back on. "Oh, everything okay?" I set the folder on the table and slid it toward her. Her eyes flicked over it, pretending confusion, then concern. "What's this? You tell me." She flipped through it, fast. Too fast. I watched her pupils twitch as she scanned her own signature, the one she forged and traced to look like mine. She dropped the folder like it burned her. "Marcus, what is this supposed to be?" "That's an $880,000 mortgage you took out in my name. To buy your boyfriend a house." Her jaw tightened. "That's ridiculous." I stepped forward. "I've seen you. At the house. I saw you kiss him. I watched you unlock the door." The room went dead silent. Her eyes narrowed, calculating. "You were spying on me?" That was her angle. Not the betrayal. Not the theft. The audacity that I dared to find out. "Don't twist this," I snapped. "You committed fraud. You stole my identity. You signed my name." She smirked, this smug, disgusting smirk that still makes my skin crawl. "I did what I had to do. You were always so small, Marcus. Playing it safe. Being a good boy. I needed more." "You needed him?" She laughed. "He makes me feel alive. You make me feel like I'm aging in slow motion." I stared at her, heart hammering. "You're unbelievable." "Oh, come on," she snapped. "Grow up. It's not like you're some innocent angel. I bet you love the idea of that big mortgage. Made you feel like a man for once. You stole my ****ing name, Jessica." "And what are you going to do?" she hissed. "Turn me in?" You'd go down with me. The bank thinks you signed. You think they'll believe you over me. I stepped back, shaking with fury. That's when I smiled. Slowly. What? She asked. I already went to the police. Her face went pale. Her lips parted, but no sound came. I had the signature analyzed. They know it's fake. I got copies of the security footage from the notary office you forged. The stamp you used? It belonged to a woman who retired in 2020. I even pulled the metadata from the scanned documents. You left your real estate company's name in the PDF properties. You're finished. She staggered backward and gripped the edge of the counter. You're bluffing. Am I? I said, pulling out my phone and showing her the video. Her walking into the boyfriend's house. Her kissing him. Her pulling out the keys. Her mouth opened, then closed. I leaned in. You didn't just cheat. You tried to destroy me. But here's the difference between us, Jessica. You're sloppy. You think with your hormones. I think with precision. She looked like she was going to be sick. You'll lose everything, I said calmly. The house. Your job. Your license. Maybe even your freedom. And still, even with all that crashing down, she had the nerve to say, you wouldn't do that to me. We've been through too much. We were something. But now, you're just another story I'll laugh about once the papers are signed. And then, just before I walked out, she whispered, he doesn't even love me. He just wanted the house. I turned back and stared into her hollow, glassy eyes. Good, I said. Then maybe you two deserve each other. And I left her standing there, trembling. That night, I called the realtor and listed our home. She came home to find all her stuff boxed and a locksmith changing the locks. Game on. Jessica lost her mind when she saw the locksmith. Marcus, what the hell are you doing? This is my house too. No, I said without even turning to face her. It was. Not anymore. She marched up the steps like a storm in heels, but the guy drilling out the lock didn't even flinch. I had the court order in my back pocket. Emergency injunction, granted just hours earlier. Fraud, identity theft, marital asset protection. Turns out, judges don't take kindly to spouses signing their husband's name to massive loans. Get out of my way, she screamed. The locksmith stayed put. I finally turned. You can take your things. Everything else stays. Her eyes flared. You can't do this to me. I already did. She pushed past me, but I blocked the door. I held up a box. Inside were the essentials. Purse, phone charger, and whatever else I knew she'd demand first. Everything else gets sorted by attorneys. She stared at me like she didn't even recognize the man in front of her. And maybe she didn't. I wasn't the doormat she married. That guy died the moment she bought another man a house with my name. I swear to God, Marcus, if you think you can take everything from me, you took everything first. I'm just evening the score. She didn't cry. That's what still gets me. No guilt, no shame. Just rage. Pure, venomous rage that she didn't win. Travis is going to help me fix this, she hissed. You'll see. I actually laughed. Travis? The guy who needed my credit score to afford hardwood floors? He'll vanish the moment the bank comes calling. And deep down, I knew I was right. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Not after the adrenaline of evicting the woman I thought would be my forever. I walked through the empty house like it was a museum of lies. The wedding photo in the hallway. Her perfume still hanging in the air upstairs. I picked up the framed picture of us from Maui, just 6 months before the affair started. She was smiling. But now, all I could see in that smile was calculation. I went into the bedroom, opened her closet, and just stared. The designer shoes I paid for. The jewelry I surprised her with on her birthday. The lingerie I bought that, now I knew, was never for me. That hit me harder than the mortgage. The thought that while I was planning date nights and stressing over work to keep us comfortable, she was sneaking around in the same damn house, laying in my bed with someone else's name in her mouth. I opened her drawer. Letters. Notes. Dumb little cards that read, "To my king," written in handwriting that now made me want to vomit. I found one that chilled my spine. A receipt. From a jewelry store. $3,200 for a man's bracelet. Not for me. It was dated the same day I was in the hospital for a minor surgery. She bought him jewelry while I was under anesthesia. That's when something inside me broke for good. Not in a way that makes you cry. In the way that makes your heart go silent. I sat on the floor, back against the bed, holding that receipt like it was a death certificate. Then my phone lit up. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Marcus Carter, a voice asked. Male. Calm. Yeah. This is Detective Rollins. We'd like to speak with you about a financial matter involving your wife. She's at the station right now. Says you're aware of the situation. I paused. Yes, I'm very aware. She claims you authorized the mortgage. But based on our preliminary findings, your story checks out. Would you be willing to press charges? I looked at the picture frame in my hand. The last photo of a life that never really existed. Yes, I said. I want to press charges. Understood. We'll be in touch. I hung up. Sat there in silence. It was done. The mask was off. Jessica was no longer just a liar, or a cheater, or a thief. She was a criminal. And now the world was going to see it too. The next time I saw her, she was sitting in the back of a beige interrogation room, arms crossed like a pouty teenager, not a woman under felony investigation. Her makeup was smeared, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. Still, somehow, she tried to look smug. They said you're pressing charges, she said. Her voice cracked slightly. I leaned against the wall, arms folded. I am. They told me I could get 10 years. That's insane, Marcus. You're really going to let this happen to me? I'm not letting anything happen to you, I said slowly. You did this. Her eyes were red, but not from tears. She was angry, furious that she wasn't in control anymore. They're exaggerating. It was a misunderstanding. Travis, he was supposed to help with the payments. It wasn't like I was trying to ruin you. I almost laughed. You forged a signature, took out a near $1 million mortgage, lied for months, hid a second life from me, and now you're sitting here because you got caught, not because you feel a damn ounce of guilt. She leaned forward, voice dropping. If you don't drop the charges, I'll tell them you knew. Do it, I said without blinking. Because I already gave them the messages from your phone, the fake notary, the timeline. I even turned over the email you sent Travis titled, He'll Never Know. I used his info. The color drained from her face. That was private, she whispered. You gave up private when you bought another man a house with my credit. The door opened, and the detective walked in. Mr. Carter, thanks for coming. We have what we need. We'll be filing formal charges next week. Jessica's mouth opened, but no words came. The mask finally cracked. I turned and walked out. That night, I sat in the dark living room of what used to be our home. Alone, and strangely, peaceful. For weeks, my mind had been a hurricane. Now, it was still, cold, clear. She tried texting later. Pathetic, last gasp attempts. Please, I'm sorry. You don't have to ruin my life. He left me. Marcus, please pick up. I didn't answer. The next morning, I changed my number. But the emotional fallout didn't just vanish. That night, I had dreams, no, nightmares, of walking into that house again and seeing her wrapped around him on the couch. Dreams where my name was stamped on legal documents I never saw, drowning me in debt while they popped champagne. Waking up felt like surfacing from under ice. I started seeing a therapist, a guy named Paul. Older, quiet, didn't coddle. After the third session, he looked at me and said, She didn't just betray you, Marcus. She erased you from your own life. That stuck with me. I wasn't grieving a person. I was grieving the years I gave, the nights I worked late for us, the anniversaries I thought meant something. All of it gone. Burned for some man who probably doesn't even know what a credit score is. But there was something else I hadn't expected, freedom. Without her lies sucking the oxygen out of the room, I started breathing again. I took down the pictures, sold the furniture she picked out. I started replacing every piece of our shared life with mine. My taste, my choices. One day, I walked past the mirror and actually saw me. Not some tired, obedient version of myself who kept saying, maybe next year, to his own dreams. I booked a trip. Iceland. Somewhere cold, quiet, pure. 2 days before the flight, I got a letter. From her. Handwritten. No return address. It said, I made a mistake. I thought he'd be everything you weren't. But all he was loud and reckless. You were calm, steady, and I broke it. I don't deserve your forgiveness. But if there's any part of you that remembers what we had, please don't let me disappear like this. I read it once, then burned it. And as the fire turned those words to ash, I realized something. She did disappear. She vanished the moment she chose another man over the one who stood by her for 7 years. The moment she gambled our future for a fling with muscles and a rented smile. Now it was just me. And the silence. And for the first time in a long time, that silence didn't feel lonely. Iceland was colder than I expected, but I welcomed it. The sting of the wind on my face felt honest, sharp, real, not like the fake warmth I lived in for years. I stood alone at the edge of a black sand beach, watching waves crash into rock like fists on a locked door. That's what healing felt like. Violent, repetitive, necessary. I didn't check my phone much. I barely even remembered I had one. For once, I wasn't waiting for a message. I wasn't anxious about what I'd find. I wasn't wondering who she was texting or why she'd suddenly flipped her phone face down. Back in the States, Jessica's world was unraveling. Her license got suspended by the real estate board. Fraud was too big to bury. Travis. Gone. Moved to Miami with some 22-year-old. I know because my lawyer showed me his Instagram, where he posted a story of a new condo with the caption, "Paid in full." Out with the old nail polish light skin tone. Disgusting. Fitting. Jessica tried to stall the court proceedings, said she was going through emotional trauma, claimed I was financially abusive because I refused to forgive the loan. She even accused me of spying on her, like I hadn't watched her walk hand in hand into a house she bought with my stolen signature. I came back from Iceland colder, calmer, but sharper. I was done reacting. Now I was planning. The house went on the market the next week. I staged it with a company she used to brag about working with. The same designer she once said could never afford us. Now she was walking through our home with a clipboard, nodding. "It's a nice space," the designer said, then smirked. "But I can feel something ugly try to live here." "Yeah," I said. "It's gone now." Jessica showed up unannounced one night. I was on the porch, drinking coffee, not even surprised when her car pulled into the driveway. She stepped out like she owned the pavement. But the moment she got closer, she looked smaller. Makeup free, hair tied back. No rings. No arrogance. Just desperation. "Marcus," she said, hugging herself. "I know you probably hate me." "I don't." Her eyes flicked up in surprise. "I don't hate you," I repeated. "I just don't care anymore." She looked like I slapped her. That was the real punishment. Not the courts, not the bankruptcy, not the boyfriend who ditched her the second money dried up. It was me not caring. "You were everything," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "And I traded you for something that looked shiny but turned out to be trash." I didn't reply. I wake up every morning and hope I'm dreaming. That I didn't do what I did. "You did." She nodded. "I know. I just wanted to see you. One more time. Maybe say goodbye before I go." "Go where?" "Out of state," she said. "My aunt's in Colorado. She said I can stay in her basement for a while. Start over." I looked at her. This woman I once thought was my future. Now just a stranger with my last name for a few more weeks. "I hope you do start over," I said. "But you're going to carry this with you. Not because I want you to, but because you did it. And deep down, you know exactly who you are." Tears welled up in her eyes. She didn't wipe them. "I loved you once," she whispered. "No," I said. "You loved the version of me that paid for everything and asked nothing. The moment I needed respect, you cashed in." She stepped back. "I guess this is it." "It was it the moment you unlocked that house with my keys." She left without another word. And I went back inside, poured another coffee, and turned on the stereo. The silence was over. A week later, I watched the moving truck pull away from the driveway, the last box of memories packed tight and sealed shut. I didn't keep much, just what I needed and a few things that reminded me of who I was before her. The rest was baggage, and I was done carrying it. The house sold in 3 days. Above asking. Cash buyer. The same kitchen where Jessica once lied about working late was now someone else's dream, someone else's fresh start. Fitting. I moved into a smaller condo across town. High floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Clean slate. No shared closets. No lingering perfume in the sheets. No ghost of a cheating wife sitting on the edge of the bed rehearsing her next lie. The first night there, I sat in silence. No TV. No music. Just the quiet hum of a place that finally belonged only to me. Then came the call. It was Jessica's lawyer. "She's willing to sign the divorce papers uncontested," he said. "She only has one condition." "What?" I asked, already knowing I'd say no. "She wants to keep the wedding photos." I let out a dry laugh. "Why?" "To remember what she destroyed," he quoted. Her words. I paused, then said, "She can have them. Every one. Let them rot in whatever shoebox she hides her regrets in." The paperwork was finalized 3 weeks later. Just like that, 7 years of marriage reduced to a stack of signatures and a county seal. No tears. No farewell hugs. Just a courtroom nod and a door swinging shut behind her heels. She looked back once. I didn't. A month passed. I got used to the quiet. I went to the gym more. Took walks. Started cooking again, which I hadn't done in years. She always hated the smell of spices in the kitchen. Said it made her feel trapped. I liked the smell. It meant I was home. One night, I went to a bar alone. Not to meet anyone. Just to sit in a room with strangers and feel normal again. Halfway through my second drink, a woman sat down at the bar 2 stools away. Red coat. No ring. She looked over and smiled. I gave a polite nod, nothing more. I wasn't ready. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. But something in that small moment, a smile without obligation, a glance without weight, reminded me that not every woman lies. Not every smile is loaded. The bartender slid the check over. You're good. She covered it. I looked up, surprised. The woman in the red coat raised her glass, winked, and walked out without saying a word. And for the first time in months, I laughed. It wasn't a big laugh. It wasn't even happy. But it was real. It came from somewhere deeper than rage. Somewhere past betrayal. It came from survival. Later that night, I got a final text from Jessica. I hope you find someone who sees your worth. I didn't. And I'm sorry. I didn't reply. I archived it. Some things don't deserve a response. Some people only learn when the silence answers back. The next morning, I opened my laptop and started writing. Not a letter to her. Not a rant. Just words. About what happened. About how love isn't enough. About what it feels like to be erased by someone who once promised forever. It started as a paragraph. It became 10 pages. Then 20. I didn't write to heal. I wrote to remember. Because the man she lied to, the man she betrayed, humiliated, and tried to destroy, deserved to have his side of the story told. I never thought I'd be grateful for what she did. But in some twisted way, I was. Because I lost her and found myself. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a voicemail from Jessica's sister, Lauren. We hadn't spoken since the day I kicked Jessica out. I almost didn't listen to it, assuming it was more drama, but something in her voice stopped me from deleting it. Marcus, I know we haven't talked, and I don't expect you to call back. But Jess isn't doing well. She's different. She's been saying things. Scary things. Just thought you should know. I'm sorry. For everything. I sat in my car, parked outside the grocery store, listening to that message on repeat. And I'll be honest, my first instinct wasn't concern. It was bitterness. Anger. That voice in the back of my head that said, she deserves whatever storm she's living in. But another voice, quieter, more human, whispered, you loved her once. I didn't call back, but I didn't delete the message either. A week later, I was leaving the gym when I saw her. She was standing by the elevator in the parking garage. Same coat from the courtroom, but it hung looser now. She looked thinner, tired. Her eyes locked with mine the second I turned the corner. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. We just stood there. Finally, she spoke. I'm not stalking you. Lauren told me where you worked out. I just needed to see you once. Just once. I didn't respond. She took a breath, trembling. I got a job. Nothing big. Just reception at a dentist's office. I'm staying clean. I'm trying. Still, I stayed quiet. Her voice cracked. You don't have to say anything. I know. I ruined it. All of it. But every night I lie awake and think about that look you gave me. Not when you found out. Not when you screamed. The one when you stopped caring. That's what killed me. I looked at her then. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't see her as the villain. I didn't see her as the manipulator, the liar, the thief. I saw a woman standing in the ashes of her own wreckage, realizing too late that no one was coming to pull her out. But sympathy isn't the same as forgiveness. You lied to me, I said softly. You cheated, you stole, and you smiled in my face while doing it. You broke me, Jess. But you didn't kill me. You just set me free. She wiped her face with the sleeve of her coat. I know. I walked past her, hit the elevator button. She didn't follow. As the doors closed, I looked back once. She was still standing there, arms wrapped around herself, like she didn't know where to go. And I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel pity. I just felt done. Later that night, I found myself scrolling through my phone again. Not for old pictures, not for closure, but for something else. A name. The woman in the red coat. I'd never even gotten her name. But something about that night stuck with me. That small spark of light that had nothing to do with Jessica. That had nothing to do with pain. I remembered the bartender saying she was a regular. Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I went back. Tuesday night. Same bar. Same time. And just like before, she walked in wearing that red coat, sat 2 stools away, and ordered a whiskey, neat. This time I spoke first. Thank you for the drink. Last time. She looked over, smiled. Took you long enough. We talked. Nothing deep. Nothing heavy. Just 2 people breathing in the same space without pretending. No masks. No lies. I didn't tell her my story. Not yet. But I knew. Right then, I wasn't broken anymore. Just rebuilding. Brick by F *****ing brick. We went on our first date 3 days later. No expectations. No pressure. Just a quiet dinner at a place that didn't have memories soaked into the walls. Her name was Claire. Funny, sharp, direct. When she laughed, it was real, not that rehearsed, flirty sound Jessica used to use when she wanted something. Claire didn't try to impress me. She didn't wear a mask. And maybe that's what got me. After everything I'd been through, she looked me in the eyes like she wasn't trying to figure out how to use me, but actually trying to understand me. Over the next few months, we talked about everything except our pasts. We weren't rushing. We weren't escaping. We were just being. And for the first time in years, I felt present. Alive. One night, we sat on my new couch, my choice, my colors, my space, and she looked around and asked, "Did you decorate this yourself?" "Yeah," I said. "All of it. After the divorce." She blinked. "So you've been through the fire too?" "Something like that," I said. She nodded. "Well, this doesn't look like a man who burned. It looks like a man who rebuilt." I didn't know I needed to hear that until she said it. That night, after she left, I stood by the window, staring at the city lights, and realized how far I'd come. Months ago, I was standing in a bank, being told I owed nearly $1 million for a home I never saw, never approved, never dreamed of. My own wife had sold me out for a man who couldn't afford gas without my credit. She lied. She cheated. She humiliated me. And for a while, I thought that would define me. That I'd be that guy. The man whose wife used his name like a checkbook, bought a house for her side piece, and smiled while doing it. But I'm not that guy. I'm the man who walked away, who stared down betrayal and didn't flinch, who didn't beg, didn't grovel, didn't ask why me, but said, not anymore. I learned how to spot the signs, the lies, the late-night shifts that didn't exist, the phone always flipped over, the sudden gym memberships. But more than that, I learned how to spot myself again. I was the man who worked hard, who was loyal, who gave everything to a woman who didn't deserve it. And now, I'm the man who knows better. If you're reading this, if you're sitting in your car outside your house, wondering if the woman inside is still yours, wondering if the love you gave was real while hers was rehearsed, I'll tell you this. Trust your gut. It's not paranoia. It's instinct. And when it all falls apart, don't try to tape it back together. Burn it. Let it go. Because there's a version of you waiting on the other side of the pain. One who laughs again. One who sleeps without checking her phone. One who walks into a bar and finds someone in a red coat who doesn't want anything from you except your company. Jessica was the end of something. But Claire? Claire might just be the beginning. And me? I'm just getting started.